Hi, my name's Chris Seeger and this is Malmore Downey. Over the years, we've worked with Pearson at Excel, the exam board, and worked with teachers around the country. And actually, this is our very first session recording that's directed for students. And we're going to look at some top tips getting ready for the GCSE exams that are fast approaching this summer. The most important thing here is that we are teachers. We're teachers in the classroom, teaching Year 11s right now.
This is only going to be a very quick 10-minute video just to give you some hints and tips in the last few weeks till the exams. Pearson have just released a poster that hopefully your teachers have got around the maths department. 10 quick ideas. It doesn't cover everything that you need to know. It doesn't give you hints about what topics are going to come up, but these are more from the exam team about ideas to improve your outcomes and your final result. And we'll have a quick look at each of them.
Right, the first one. Revise all the course content using the revision checklist to help. If you've not seen these, ask your teachers. They're available and the teachers will know this. It's called the Emporium, which is a resource bank from the exam boards that teachers can dip into. And it's a checklist, foundation and higher, 2 pages for each. Print these off and you can use it as a bit of a checklist of all the areas of maths that are covered in that GCSE course, ready to be assessed in the summer for the exams. There's one for higher and there's one for foundation.
And the important thing in terms of when you come to revising the topics, find things that you cannot do. Don't keep practicing the things you already know because you already know them. If that makes sense.
Right, number 2 says memorise the formulae, use the poster to help. Now this year is different from going forward. There are obviously, put on the screen there, the exam aids. There's a foundation exam aid and a higher exam aid, and they will be there in the examination with you. So it's getting used to using those formulae, knowing the formulae, particularly the way that they're worded there on that exam aid. The poster that you can see there, you may have seen them around the department. That sums up the entirety of the formula that you need to know, but with obviously the support now that's actually on the sheet that will be with you in that examination.
Again, really important that you understand which you use as they're given. So, for example, circumference of a circle is given as both 2 pi r and pi d. In your lessons, you may be used to it using one type of it, so know where to find that on the formula sheet.
And just as a note on that slide then, the formulae that's on the poster, not all of those appear on the exam aid. Some of the more basic ones are not on the exam aid. Points 3, 4 and 5, so number 3 is quite self-explanatory really. Make sure you are well hydrated and you've had a good breakfast. The summer exams in 2023 are going to be in the morning. They're all in the morning. So just make sure you've had a good breakfast. Something like porridge, banana, just food that is going to be good, fill you up, but also give you energy just to be able to concentrate throughout that exam. And then it says make sure you've got some water on your desk as well to stay hydrated throughout the hour and a half, which is the exam length for maths GCSE.
And then making sure you've got the correct equipment. And as a reminder, paper 1 is non-calculator, and then paper 2 and 3 you are allowed a calculator. Pencil, ruler, compasses, protractor, tracing paper. If you haven't got any of that equipment and you've forgotten it, taking the spare pen. Again, black ink on a pen and making sure that you're not using an erasable pen that I know some students like, because when they go through some of the scanning machines, some of that ink disappears. And so all of those rules are there for a reason. There will be invigilators in the room that if you've forgotten something, ask for it, because the school will want to make sure that you've got the correct equipment.
And then finally, point 5 on this slide, read the question carefully. Make sure you fully understood it before answering it. Read it once, digest it, then read it again before answering. Point 6, 7 and 8. Number 6, roughly allow 1 minute for each mark available. Now, doing this will enable you to have enough time for the bigger questions. So you will not need, for a few of the 1 markers at the start of the papers, those shorter questions, you won't need that full minute, which will give you the balancing out when it comes to the bigger questions that do need more than the number of marks. So for example, a 5-mark question may need more than 5 minutes, but a 1-mark question may not need the full 1 minute, balancing it out throughout the paper.
And then when we're talking about making sure you show all the stages, this is really important, more so on paper 2 and paper 3, when the examiner doesn't get to see what you've put in on your calculator. So everything you enter in your calculator, you have to remember that you've got to write that down as well to show the examiner, this is what I put into my calculator, this was the calculation I chose to use. So making sure you show everything, and I know it's something students will have been told hundreds of times over the years by teachers, show all your work in. Get into that habit now, just to think that all of a sudden it's going to happen when you're sat in that exam. Students forget that that's what they're meant to be doing. Everything that's going on in your head, you get down onto that paper.
And I think what Mal just said then about what you type in the calculator is so vital. Once that calculator's cleared and you've walked out of that exam and that calculator paper's finished, no one's going to ever know what was in that calculator to help get that answer. So write it down, no matter how simple you think it is. And then point 8 there is communicate your responses fully using the correct terminology. So leave good, full answers. And what we've put on the screen here is just a variety of the different types of answers that could crop up. So you've got your 1 markers. Now and again, we get multiple choice. Make sure you've left an answer for absolutely everything in your exam. You've got larger working out spaces, and sometimes you have lines, which is indicating for those more wordy answers. And again, making sure that your communication is nice, crisp, and simple explaining that answer.
And just because there might be 2 lines or 4 lines, don't feel a need to fill it all up. Don't use it as an indicator that, oh, they require 4 lines of answers. Or for the larger working space, they require loads of working out. Sometimes you may find a method that just requires 2 lines of working. So just make sure that you're thinking it as well. It's more to do with, am I showing all the correct steps? And then just think about not crossing answers out unless you're really sure that you definitely don't want to use those answers.
And then points 9 and 10, so present and organise your work clearly. Now, we always suggest to our students, particularly when you're comparing different things in a question, utilise the working space and cut it in half. So for example, the question on the screen there regarding the 2 cubes, you may want to split your working out page to show clearly on the left-hand side, this is my working out for cube A, and on the right-hand side, this is my working out for cube B. The question down in the bottom left-hand corner about the vans and cars, you might want to split your page to have working out for the cars side and working out on the right-hand side for the vans. It's just about getting organised and leaving that working that you're spending an hour and a half minimum of your time in a nice, legible, organised manner, so that examiner can pick up and understand what is going on throughout that hour and a half for that question, what is going through your head, to be able to mark it and give the marks accordingly. So present and organise the work clearly.
Yeah, and on that point, try to have a go at every question. Yes, there are right answers to the questions, but when it comes to having a go, getting something will be better than getting nothing on a question. And you can guarantee you'll get nothing if you don't even attempt it. And sometimes once you start, you'll find that the avenue's open, that you all of a sudden you realise, actually, I do know more about how to answer this question than I initially thought, especially on these multi-step questions. And that brings us to that last point about making sure that your answer is sensible. Does it make sense that my electricity bill is £34,000 for a week? Sometimes it might not make sense, but when you could go back, you might realise actually it's pence, not pounds, and just double check your answers. Which also then, one more hint, and I'm going to drop this one in, is when it comes to using your calculator, lots of students put the calculation into their calculator once, write that down, and then assume that they entered it into their calculator correct. So I would advise my students, enter it into your calculator twice. If you get the same answer, you can be pretty confident that that is correct. But if you get two different answers, enter it in a third time. It's just about having that level of detail.
So 10 points from Pearson and delivered here by 2 maths teachers in the classroom. So final thing from us, good luck.